What's up, guys? KS here. Thanks for joining me today, as always. Can you believe it, guys? It's been another year and it's time for the year-end review. But before we begin, I want to give you guys a huge thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. We've had a great time getting to know each other, especially down in the comments below, on Instagram, on Facebook, all of that kind of good stuff. And speaking of comments, this is a great video to leave some comments on because I want to know what your favorite gun or guns were for 2018. I think it's always fun to take a look back at the last year and think about your experiences and think about what your favorite ones were. So be sure to leave some comments. Otherwise, guys, let's dive in and see what made the list. Now, when I set out to do this video, I didn't really have a specific number in mind. It wasn't like a top 10 or a top 5 or anything like that. I just picked the guns that I thought were the most fun to test and evaluate over the course of the year. And coming in at number 9, believe it or not, are a couple of polymer 80s. Now, these are just stand-ins for the experience itself. You guys know I've been getting into polymer 80s, especially over the winter. It's so nice to have a project, something to do to keep your mind sharp and keep you occupied. And polymer 80s have definitely filled the gap. Now, I've also said this is not going to become a polymer 80 channel, and it absolutely isn't. The format stays the same, but this just has been a lot of fun. So you guys will definitely see a series of videos, and I've already done one already with Steel City Arsenal with some of the different parts because it's fun to build these and make them your own, man. Put your personality into them and all that kind of stuff. Get those creative juices flowing. So the polymer 80s have just been a lot of fun. So number 9 are the polymer 80s. Coming in at number 8 is actually a gun I reviewed very recently, and it's a Tristar T120. And I have to say, I was and still am very taken by this firearm. First, I think it's a fantastic build. I think it's a great looking gun with this tungsten gray finish and the black furniture on it. The trigger out of the box was outstanding, especially for a double action, single action firearm. And when I think about guns that are reasonably affordable, and this coming in certainly under $500, it's kind of tough to beat. And it's got a lot of the same functionality, the same build characteristics as the CZ75, which we all know is very popular. There are a lot of clones out there, but this gun has been absolutely fantastic. The fish scale serrations, the very minimalist slide. I think it just is a really cool gun. It's been a lot of fun to take to the range and everything. Unfortunately, it has to go back to the mothership very soon, but I wanted to include it on the year-end review because I think it really is truly a fantastic firearm. So again, coming in at number 8 is the Tristar T120. Now for number 7, you're actually seeing a gun that hasn't been reviewed on the channel yet, and it's actually a stand-in. This is a Rock Island Armory MAP, or MAPP, 9mm. It's a stand-in for one of its brothers. It's actually the TAC Ultra FS 9mm 22 TCM combo. It's a 1911 format firearm, and I'll tell you what, I had so much fun with that gun. I just was truly taken by it. That 22 TCM, it's loud, it throws a huge fireball downrange, and it was just so much fun. And I've become a real fan of Rock Island. This last year, 2018, was really the first experience with them, and I've been really taken by the quality of craftsmanship that they've got in their firearms these days, as well as the affordable price. I think that's a great combo. So again, coming in at number 7 is the TAC Ultra FS 9mm 22 TCM combo. Coming in at number 6 is the Kanak Elite Combat, and I have to say, when I first picked this thing up, I was so impressed by the quality of build, especially with all the different enhancements or accessories, I suppose you could say, with this, like the threaded barrel, it's cut for an RMR, the magwell, the extended base plate, fantastic trigger. I mean, this truly is one of the better triggers out of the box, I will say, as well as the overall look of this. I've truly been impressed. Now, I know some people have been giving it trouble because it's a little bit expensive, $850 MSRP, but I think people are finding them more around the $700 range. And for this, for everything you're getting in it, I actually think it's kind of worth it. It just has been really impressive to me and definitely worthy of being on the list at number 6. Again, the Kanak Elite Combat. Rounding the corner at number 5 is the FN509 Tactical. And I will say, in reviewing the first one in 2017, I thought it was a good gun, but I didn't necessarily think it was a great gun. It wasn't that impressive. But when they came out with the Tactical, I was really excited because there were a couple of features that caught my eye, one of which is the cut for the red dot, and it's a very unusual design. It's got the O-rings in it. It just makes it a little bit easier to keep that optic in without having to use a lot of blue Loctite or anything like that. But then also the threaded barrel. Guys, this is a fantastic suppressor host. It's been a lot of fun. I've not had a single bobble with it at all. And then the suppressor height sights. I mean, it really is a fantastic build. Again, it's a little bit more expensive, but you're basically getting what you pay for with this. Now, it does have the addition of the Apex trigger on it. I've been so impressed with that. I love the feel of this trigger as well as the look. So the 509 has been very impressive. It feels good in the hand. It's a lot of fun to shoot, even though it's a little bit bigger gun, but it just has been a lot of fun. So definitely worthy of position at number 5, the FN 509 Tactical. Coming in at number 4 is the Glock 45, also a new release for the year. Now, I struggled with this a little bit because I was torn between this and the Gen 5 19 MOS, but at the end of the day, I really like this 45. I think it's a great feeling firearm. I was a big fan of the 19X, so this basically is the 19X with a couple of differences on it, and the addition of the forward serrations as well as the magwell, I just think it's a fantastic package. Now, I've got a Faxon barrel on it. I've got a review on that coming here before entirely too long. I love this this sort of rainbow or chameleon barrel. I think it's a really cool look. But again, the 45 has just been really impressive to me, and I'm a fan of Glocks. I like Glocks, and so I enjoy most of them. But the 45 is kind of unique enough that I was just taken by it. Again, I could have gone either way with the 19 MOS or this, but the 45 just fit the bill. The number 3 spot for the year was actually quite a surprise for me, and that's the Taurus G2C. Now, it's my first foray into Taurus, and I know their reputation over the long term hasn't necessarily always been that good, but the G2C seems to really have been taken by a lot of people. They've been very impressed with it. I definitely have. It's got about 800 rounds through it now, and it's been flawless, and it's actually a pretty good shooter. Feels good in the hand. I like the grip texture quite a bit. The trigger's taken a little while to get used to because it's a really long pull, but it's actually a light break, and it's got a really short reset on it, which I love. And coming in at around $225 or so, and people have found them for a little bit less, a little bit more, I think it's actually pretty tough to beat. And I'm excited for Taurus to continue to go this direction and put out guns like this that are still really affordable, but work and they run well. So the Taurus G2C, I think, definitely earns a place in the list. And believe it or not, it made it all the way to number 3. Okay, in a moment of transparency, the number 2 and the number 1 spots were actually pretty easy for me. As you can see, we've got the CZ-P01 Omega in front of us right now at the number 2 spot. Guys, I will admit this is one of my favorite guns in the collection. This is one of my favorite guns of all time. Now, it's about the size of a Glock 19, and if you're a fan of the 19 or that size of firearm, then I think the P01 would definitely be right up your alley. Now, this is the Omega system. They also have just the regular system, and both can certainly be dialed in to your liking. I've got the lock grips on here with the Shamrock. I'm a huge fan of lock grips. It's just the right feel for me. But overall, I love the look of this firearm. Now, I know not everybody's a fan of the fact that the dust cover doesn't really line up very well with the slide. That doesn't bother me one bit. I still think it's a very classy, very elegant firearm, and it is so much fun to shoot at the range, and it feels fantastic in the hand. It truly does. So this is really easy for me to say this is number 2. In fact, I sort of wavered with this being number 1, but I just couldn't do it. So again, coming in at number 2 is the CZ-P01 Omega. All right, guys, it's time for number 1, and I bet it's not going to surprise a single person, and that's the CZ Shadow 2. I had so much fun reviewing this. My buddy Sandpaper Pistol Grips lent me his to do the review. That was really cool of him to do. I immediately bought one myself because I was so taken by this. I think it's probably one of the best CZ builds out there, and I know that's a pretty bold statement, but I just love it. I mean, the ergonomics on this, I mean, look at that checkering. We've got the lock grips. Again, I run those on all my CZs, that forward checkering as well. The slide design is fantastic. This trigger is light, it's crisp, it's got a short reset, it's everything that I want in a double action, single action firearm. And the sight setup is fantastic. It's easy to see at the range. I mean, it just is a fantastic gun. Now, it's a bit of a beast. It's kind of a tank. It weighs quite a bit, but that means it's going to be soft shooting, it's going to be light recoil, and it's going to be pretty flat as well. So when I think of the sort of all-encompassing design, if it's not a battle gun, and this isn't in my opinion, but just a gun that I truly enjoy shooting, it has to be the CZ Shadow 2. It was really easy for that. So guys, that's my number one pick, the CZ Shadow 2. Well, guys, there you have it. There's my list for 2018. We've had a lot of fun with these guns, and I've had a great time sharing my thoughts with you. There were certainly a lot of guns that didn't make the list. They were good guns, too. These were just the most meaningful to me over the course of the year. Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing your comments, seeing what guns were your favorites of 2018. I'm really looking forward to that. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.